Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order on May 2nd, 2023 of the Town of Sheffield Select Board. This meeting is being recorded by CTSB. You may record the meeting also if you wish, just notify the chair. Thank you everyone for being here tonight and those who watch us on CTSB. Our first order of business is approval of meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes from April 10th with Finance Committee, April 13th, April 18th, 3 sets of minutes, and April 27th, 2 sets of minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is our annual reading of the board, committee, and commission appointments. These are vacancies for the fiscal year 24 coming up. When these are read, all of these are for 3-year appointments unless it is specified otherwise. Does anyone wish to read this? Thank you, Rhonda.
What's that? Agricultural Commission, 4 vacancies. Agricultural Commission alternate, 2 vacancies, 1-year appointments. Animal Control Officer, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Animal Inspector, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Ashley Falls Historic District Commission alternate, 2 vacancies, 1 year. Berkshire Regional Planning Commission delegate, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Berkshire Regional Planning Commission delegate alternate, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Board of Assessors, 2 vacancies. Board of Registrars, 1 vacancy. Building Inspector, 1 vacancy. Cemetery Commission, 1 vacancy. Commission on Disabilities, 2 vacancies. Conservation Commission, 2 vacancies. Conservation Commission alternate, 2 vacancies. Constable, 2 vacancies. Council on Aging, 3 vacancies. Cultural Council, 2 vacancies. Electrical Inspector and the Electrical Inspector Assistant, 1 vacancy each, 1-year appointments. Executive Director to the Council on Agency, 1 vacancy. Finance Committee, 1 vacancy. Fire Chief, 1 vacancy, 1 year. 5 Town Cable Advisory, 3 vacancies. Gas and Piping Inspector and Gas and Piping Inspector alternate, each 1 vacancy each, 1-year appointments. Historical Commission, 3 vacancies. Housing Commission, 3 vacancies. Housing Commission alternate, 2 vacancies, 1 year. Parking Clerk, 1 vacancy. Planning Board alternate member, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Plumbing Inspector and the Plumbing Inspector Assistant, each 1 vacancy, 1-year appointments. Police Officer Reserve Intermittent, 1 vacancy. Public Weigher, 4 vacancies, 1 year. Recycling Coordinator, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Sanitation Inspector, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Southern Berkshire District Veterans Service Delegate, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Town Council, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Veterans Agent, 1 vacancy, 1 year. Zoning Board of Appeals, 3 vacancies. Zoning Board of Appeals alternate, 2 vacancies, 1 year.
Thank you. And Rhonda, what would you like to have people provide you who are interested in any of these positions?
So we need something in writing, and that can be an email. They can mail something in, they can drop something off, they can put something in the Dropbox, as long as they put it in writing and clearly put which position they're interested in.
Great.
And if they have any questions, they can give us a call. We'd be glad to answer.
Bob or Nadine, would you like to add anything?
No.
All right, our next item of business is ratification of moderator's appointment to the Finance Committee. We have a letter here from our current moderator, Bill Tye, saying Finance Committee nomination. He would like to appoint Nadine Halver to another 3-year term on the Sheffield Finance Committee.
I move that we appoint Nadine for another 3-year term for the Finance Committee.
Nadine, would you care to second that?
I guess I will, if you're not willing to.
Well, I have just a slight issue, and this is a little bit awkward for me, but my issue has nothing to do with Nadine. She has been an excellent member of the Finance Committee for at least one term, possibly one, and during that time she has served as chairman, and again, I think she has done an excellent job. My concern is that there's been a history, I actually looked it up, of going back to 16, that these appointments are made, or nominations are made in June. And Rhonda told me today that our charter calls for the town moderator to make a nomination within 2 weeks of the annual town meeting, which to me indicates that there may be an opportunity for the new moderator to make that appointment. If it said 1 week, then I'd have no issue. So I just have a concern that Bill is not up for, he chose not to run again, and this feels to me like this is something that should be left for the new moderator. And we know that Martin Mitzoff is the only person on the ballot, but there may be a write-in. So again, I really want to make it clear, this is not an issue with Nadine. It is an issue of how this is being done. So that said, there is nothing wrong with a member of this board. We usually do not vote for ourselves, but there is nothing wrong with a member of this board voting for themselves. I mean, this isn't a conflict of interest. We get paid nothing to be on any board except elected to the select board. And this is an appointed position. So I just wanted to make my position clear on this, and if Nadine wishes to second this, that's fine, and then we will take a vote.
I will second it.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Yes. So Nadine is, this nomination is made and approved by the select board. All right, next we have
Madam Chair, may I be recognized?
Can you wait until public comments?
That's fine.
Okay. So let's go on to our next item, which is announcement of a letter of interest for the Housing Commission. Rhonda, would you like to summarize this for us, please?
Sure. So we have a letter from Ben Webb, who is writing to express his interest in the Housing Commission. His family moved here in 2011 from Connecticut. He's worked within the community for years at his family's business at the Magic Fluke. He calls Sheffield his permanent home, and he would look forward to participating in town leadership and projects that contribute to the community's vitality.
So we announced this tonight, and we'll vote on it at the next meeting. Thank you. Next item is a resignation from the Ashley Falls Historic District Commission. And Maggie Carroll, as we all have in front of us, has sent in a very nice letter indicating that because of demands on her time, especially with her young children, that she is resigning from the Ashley Falls Historic District Commission. Would the board care to take any action?
I'll make a motion that we accept her letter and write a letter of thanks.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I guess we need to add Ashley Falls Historic District Commission full member to our list of,
Yes.
of needed vacancies to be filled. Next, we have action on the appointment of a firefighter, and we have all of the information here on Edward Harvey. We also have his appointment being reviewed by the Vigilant Committee. Membership signatures as are here. What action, this would be Rhonda, this would be a probationary firefighter?
Yes, for 1 year.
For 1 year. Does the board wish to take any action?
I move to make Edward Harvey a probationary fireman,
I'll second that.
Can we make that a 1 year term?
1 year term.
Great. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And we continue to compliment people who joined the volunteer host company. I think we're one of the few towns in Berkshire County that continues to have such active membership and such active new volunteers. So the next one is a reminder of the Mass DOT public hearing for replacement of the County Road Bridge. Rhonda, could you handle this, please?
Sure. So Mass DOT is going to hold a public hearing regarding the replacement of the County Road Bridge over Ironworks Brook. Everyone will recognize it by the bridge that's restricted, currently restricted. So this hearing is going to take place virtually on Tuesday, May 9th from 6 to 8. And it is posted on our website with the address where you sign up to attend.
Thank you. Next, we have action to take on, I believe it's 3 one-day alcohol permits. Let's take them in order. The first one is for Berkshire School on June 9th and 10th.
That's not the order I had either, but
I'm sorry.
that's okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the one-day liquor license request for Berkshire Schools Alumni Reunion for June 9th and 10th.
Second.
Your insurance is in. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's see if I've got the next one in order. How about Ward's Nursery?
I'll make a motion that we approve a one-day liquor license for Ward's Nursery for a staff appreciation picnic.
Pending the liquor license insurance.
And is there a date on this?
7/18. It's on the next page.
Oh.
I'm searching for it.
Thank you, on July 18th.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have this motion pending receipt of the liability insurance. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And I think we can agree this is probably the last one.
I'll make a motion, we approve the one-day liquor license request for Dewey Hall for May 26th to serve beer and wine. Did I say May 26th? In
Yes.
case I didn't, it's May 26th.
No, wait a minute, do we have four?
This is Dewey Hall, yes.
Okay,
The
I'm
other one is
sorry.
Black Sheep.
We have 4. All right, we've got everything we need on that. All those in favor?
Aye.
So we have 4. The last one is Black Sheep Brewing Company, otherwise known as the Big Elm, doing an event on June 9th at Old Parish Church.
I make a motion, we approve the one-day alcohol license request from Black Sheep Brewing Company doing business as Big L Brewery for June 9th.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. All right, next, Rhonda is bringing to our attention her usual review, I think it's every 6 months, of executive session minutes and review and action that she is bringing to our attention. Rhonda, please.
So it's been a little longer than 6 months. We got a little behind, but this will catch us up to current. So I am suggesting that you partially release executive session minutes from April 16th of 21, April 26th of 21, and May 6th of 21.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And then I'm going to suggest that you fully release executive session minutes for January 27th of 22, February 3rd of 22, February 11th of 22, September 8th of 22, September 19th of 22, and October 6th of 22.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have, Dewey Hall has requested to speak to the board regarding ARPA funding and ARPA grants. And so, Ken, are you speaking for Dewey Hall?
Yes.
Please come up and just announce your name and where you live, that you're representing Dewey Hall. We're good to go.
And I'd like to give you copies of my slides, if you don't mind. So you can
Fine,
follow along.
thank you.
Let me hand them out on this one.
All right.
Jill, I'll give you my slides.
Well, good evening, and thanks for giving me some time to make our case. I think that what I'm about to tell you will go a long way toward overcoming your reservations about giving an ARPA grant to Dewey Hall. First, just to recap where we are right now. Sheffield received an ARPA grant of $934,000. And of that amount, it has $705,000 that has not yet been allocated. At its April 3rd meeting, the Select Board said it had earmarked $40,000 for nonprofit organizations, and Dewey Hall asked for $25,000 of that. Since then, we've researched the ARPA rules and the eligibility of Dewey Hall for an ARPA grant. And I'm going to lay out the facts and also explain why it's so vital to support Dewey Hall. So we looked up documents relating to the final ARPA rule from the U.S. Treasury Department issued in 2022. And here's what we found. First, nonprofit organizations may receive ARPA funds from towns. Second, these organizations can be cultural or artistic nonprofits. They must show that they suffered financial losses in the pandemic. To be specific, an overview of the 2022 ARPA final rule says that nonprofits eligible for assistance must have experienced negative economic impacts and must be tax-exempt organizations. It doesn't say that they must be certain kinds of nonprofits. What it does say is that anything not enumerated in the rule is subject to the discretion of ARPA grantees. That means that cultural nonprofits like Dewey Hall are eligible. Has anything changed since then? No. According to an April 2023 FAQ about the final rule, eligible users of ARPA grants to towns include assistance to small businesses and nonprofits. Now, if the Select Board decides to give an ARPA grant to Dewey Hall, it will be following in the footsteps of other cities in Western Massachusetts. Springfield, for example, has provided nearly $13 million to local nonprofits. These include 3 arts and cultural organizations that received a combined $275,000. Pittsfield gave $5.8 million to nonprofits, including cultural groups. These examples show that the Select Board can give an ARPA grant to Dewey Hall without running into any problem with government rules. Our state representatives agree that this is the case. State Senator Paul Mark and State Representatives John Barrett and Smitty Pignatelli have all said that cultural nonprofits should receive a portion of ARPA grants because they're vital to the health and well-being of the local economy. Now, the other cities that I mentioned made grants to cultural nonprofits because of the value that they provide to their communities. Springfield allocated nearly 10% of its ARPA money to nonprofits. Sheffield has allocated 4% or $40,000 of its grant to nonprofit organizations. If the town decided to give the same percentage that Springfield has, $93,000 would go to nonprofits. In that case, not only Dewey Hall, but some other nonprofits could benefit, such as the Sheffield Times and the Affordable Housing Group that Sarah Hoy mentioned at an April Select Board meeting. We could certainly use more affordable housing, and the Sheffield Times is part of the glue that holds our town together. Dewey Hall has suffered significant pandemic-related losses. The hall had to close for nearly 2 years, and in that time we lost tens of thousands of dollars in potential revenues. We saw our financial reserves reduced, and we had to put off needed maintenance. In 2022, the hall lost $12,400, and we also had a loss in the first quarter of this year. At this point, our financial reserves are rapidly dwindling, even as our donations, grants, and financial and rental income increase. We are pursuing other grants besides the ARPA grant, but it will take time to obtain them. In the meantime, we need help to keep the hall going. If we execute well on our strategy, we should be much better off financially next year. But we need to get that far first. Now, there are some hidden values in Dewey Hall that the Select Board might not have considered. First, the Berkshires are rich in the arts of music and theater, but many of these events are too expensive for a lot of people. Dewey Hall offers high-quality events at moderate ticket prices, benefiting our local residents and attracting other people in the area. Dewey Hall is the only art center in the Berkshires, to our knowledge, that is also a community center. We provide a rental space for public and private events, and also a place for Sheffielders to get together. The current Smithsonian exhibition shows the importance of the hall as a meeting space. The Dewey Hall hosted the recently concluded art show and contest, and we also had talks on our wild animals and on the history of the local healthcare system. There was also a well-attended community discussion at Dewey Hall that made me proud to live in Sheffield. We should also not forget that the Senior Center was at Dewey Hall for many years. Eventually, the town found the money to build a new center. But if our older people had had no place to go for socializing and for services, what would they have done? Dewey Hall filled that gap. I won't talk too much about the other benefits that Dewey Hall brings to the community, as we've covered that in our earlier remarks to the Select Board. But I would like to emphasize that the hall is vital to Sheffield's economy and economic development. We also offer a platform for some exciting young performers who especially need the hall at a time when some other local venues have closed. The Dewey Drop-In series of Wednesday night performances offers activities that are not found elsewhere in the Berkshires. For example, our spoken word series and also the jazz jams, which showcase some of the best jazz talent in the area. Finally, the 136-year-old hall embodies the history of Sheffield. It's part of who we are, and it's part of what makes the town so special. Dewey Hall is on the National Register of Historic Places and is a highlight of the Sheffield Historic District. According to Sheffield's master plan, Dewey Hall remains the central community gathering place and an important site for cultural activities. The hall also employs 3 town residents and offers work to area musicians and actors. As you know, the sign on Route 7 calls Sheffield the place where the Berkshires begin. It's important to recognize that culture is a major part of what the Berkshires are famous for. The Dewey Hall Board is doing its best to increase revenue through donations, sponsorships, and grants. Some of our annual fundraisers, like the sourdough bread baking contest and the ice cream social, have become very popular. We've also expanded revenue by having events and rentals in the hall nearly every day of the year. That's a big increase from a few years ago, but expenses have also increased along with that, and it now costs over $300 a day to keep the lights on. So in parting, Dewey Hall is asking for only $25,000, which is a small fraction of the $705,000 in ARPA funds that the town still hasn't allocated. We'd appreciate it if the Select Board could design a grant application process in the near future. And when we do apply for the grant, we'd be grateful if the Select Board would expedite a decision on our application. And whatever you decide, please explain your reasons in writing. That's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and do you have any questions?
No, thank you, Ken. That was an excellent presentation. I wasn't on the board when the ARPA funds were applied for, so you've saved me some legwork in getting some of the information that I was planning to start researching, because we had discussed that we would talk about this after town meeting. So this is a very well put together presentation.
Thank you. And I might also add that I sent the sources of my materials to Renee. She has that.
Great, thank you.
Rod?
I have no questions.
Yeah, Ken, I just have one item, actually a few. Did Dewey Hall hidden value, that slide? I'm just wondering, and you say Dewey Hall is the only art center in the area that is also a community center. I think you're the only one in Sheffield.
Well, I
I think
mean,
that's even a stronger statement, to be honest. And I would just ask you to consider putting Sheffield in there, because I know you're in the area, but there are, I mean, you are in Sheffield. You know, that other places do have events, and we do have our wonderful auditorium at the school, but they're not a community center per se.
right. Yeah.
I think it costs Dewey Hall, if I did my math right, $9,000 a month to keep the lights on. $300 a day, $9,000.
I mean, we put together a budget, and basically.
I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
We expect to spend in expenses over $100,000 this year.
Okay, all right. The last thing, thank you for summarizing the ARPA regulations. We had discussed that when we held the two public, I believe we discussed those when we held the two public input sessions. And let people say what they are interested in having potential money be spent on. If you were to get a grant of $25,000, what would you use it on?
Well,
I mean, you will outline that in the application, so nobody's going to hold you. Are you thinking more operating because of the business loss, or are you thinking capital? I'm just curious where your priorities
I think, a grant of that size, we would probably put into our reserves, just to, in case, our income isn't as great as we expected. Would you like to?
Maggie.
Maggie is the hall manager.
Yeah, please just introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Maggie McCrae. I'm the hall manager at Dewey Hall. I believe, based on our current status, that this money would in fact be going towards operating expenses and adding a cushion so that we can continue implementing the programs that are bringing in the community as we move forward and try to enliven and invigorate the space. But that cushion that we lost because we didn't have income coming in would be helpful towards operating expenses. It's harder generally to get other grants for operating expenses. So that is where I envision that money going.
I would just, I think, since we're now past town meeting, I think this board is committed to getting an application out and get going on this. I would just check to make sure that you apply for something that can be granted. I do not know. It's been a while since I read this stuff. I do not know if it can be put in reserves. So I just would.
Yeah.
And you, of course, have done the fundraising that we asked you to do when you came and when we talked about this before. So thank you very much for taking the time to address the board. I want to ask if there's anyone here who has any questions on this. I know there's a great contingency here from doing all, but are there any questions from the audience? Martin, if you could come and introduce yourself, ask your question, and then let Ken respond, please.
Martin Nitzoff, South Under Mountain Road. My question would be, are there any capital expenditures that you weren't able to undertake that have to do with safety or security of the patrons and so forth that would otherwise form either another grant or an increase in the grant that you would be asking for?
Beth Carlson, I'm board president at Dewey Hall. So we're looking at a master plan for the building. Obviously, the roof is coming up. We're trying to raise funds right now to freshen the floors. They're the original floors from 130 years ago. And a variety of other maintenance, mostly, real concern is the windows, which need to be restored and preserved. We're definitely looking at preservation, and we're trying to get a grant from the Massachusetts Cultural Facilities Fund for an historic structures report, a conditions assessment, and a master plan. That will help us give us the piece to go into a strategic plan and major capital campaigns for those bigger projects. And then we'll also have like a timeline of what needs to be done then. We're also applying for a staffing grant from Massachusetts Cultural Council.
Thank you.
Priscilla Cote, also a board member. One of the things I'd like to add that we have talked is as far as upgrading is the windows, which are very, very old, and just to sort of help the heating process would be much more efficient if we were able to formulate better windows that would protect and also restore the integrity of the building. But that would also help to defray costs on heating if the windows were much more efficient. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you again. Phyllis?
Hi, Phyllis Webb, Sheffield. Thank you. Just 2 lines. Accessibility is also. We pride ourselves on amazing events that are open to everybody. This really is a community place, and accessibility, and that is a safety issue. Bathroom-wise and just entrance-wise is a problem, and I think in our long-term master plan is something that we're looking to make it even more open to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you again. Let's move on to our next item, discussion action regarding a Memorial Day parade permit. We have the request in front of us from the Ashley Falls Village Improvement Society for their Memorial Day permit.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request for a parade on Monday, April 28th at 8 a.m. for the Ashley Falls Village Improvement Society.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, last item before we go into board members' items is discussion possible action for carpet disposal charge. Do you want me to take this, Rhonda? Do you want to? Okay. As our recycling coordinator, I brought earlier to Rhonda's attention, I talked with Barbada Waste, who does our local waste. They have no current plans, but they think they'll probably be raising costs as their costs are going up. This only regards the bulky waste bin. Looking at the grant application that we make every year to the DEP for points based on our programs out there, one of the 2 pointers, and there aren't a lot of those 2 pointers on this, that we have been missing is that while we charge for mattresses that go into the bin and we charge for anything basically that's a stuffed piece of furniture, we're short one charge. And that's either a toilet, a sink, or a carpet. So I discussed with Rhonda that if we were to add carpet onto this, and a single coupon was needed for that, it would help balance out some of the expenses of some of the items that are a little bit more than the coupons are covering, and kind of help see us through this next year. It would also help us get some additional points, which bring money in for doing things. So that's kind of the presentation. What questions may I ask?
How much carpet? Because there's an 8 by 10 room and then there's a whole house full of carpeting.
I think this, I went back and I read what their things are. I was looking for carpet over a certain size, okay, because I know exactly what you're saying. You have a little 3 by 5, a little thing. And I think the best thing to do is leave it at carpet. They didn't give me any allowance. They didn't give me any room to wiggle, all right? And every time something goes into our bulky waste bin, a coupon has to be given. And I think our attendants are very good at using their discretion as to whether it's a little carpet that goes before the sink, or it's a 5 by 7 or 12 by 14, which of course, as it's in the bulky waste bin, it gathers water and soaks up water and gets heavy and tips the scales even more.
Yeah.
So I would ask for that type of discretion.
So are you suggesting a $25 coupon for carpet of any size, or?
I cannot, to do this, it's carpet. And what I'm trying to provide is some wiggle room, and if the attendants are not comfortable with that, then they charge the $25 coupon. I could also do this for a sink or a toilet. Frank, would you like to say something? Please go to the microphone so people can hear you.
You know, I'm just seeing rolls of, I'm not thinking.
Carpets are going in right now.
Mhm.
Carpets are going in right now.
Frank Clark, Silver Street. You were mentioning toilets and sinks. Is that a coupon? It isn't right now.
No.
Because we
I'm trying to keep this very simple. For each carpet, and usually it's in a roll. Now, if somebody wants to take a 12 by 15 carpet and roll little pieces up, I don't expect anybody of the attendants to unroll this thing to see. All right. Generally, though, I was over there today. I was looking to see particularly how many carpets there were. And I saw quite a few carpets.
Yeah. We took in 2 today, smaller carpets. The guy had some other stuff along with it, so I charged him a coupon to be able to dump whatever he had. But if he had just the 2 carpets, which were maybe 3 by 4, do I charge him $25 to dump that carpet? I mean, I think we have to set some kind of a size, or leave it up to my discretion.
Yeah, I would leave it up to your discretion.
So essentially, you're just asking to add carpet to the grant request.
But it has to be documented. They
Okay.
don't let me get away with anything.
Okay, I just want to, and I probably took this in a different direction, but I immediately thought of Frank and somebody showing up with a van full of rolled up carpet from the house that they're renovating.
I would say one coupon, if Frank thinks it's a coupon of carpet, that's his discretion.
Okay.
Attendants always have the discretion, always.
All right, then
I think you feel that, Frank, right? Or no?
I'm sorry.
I think you have, do you feel that you have the discretion if an oversized chair or,
I think, yes, I think so. I mean, if somebody comes in with a little runner, I find it hard to say,
Right,
okay.
that's where your discretion
But if
comes.
somebody comes in with a 5 by 7 carpet, let them pay the $25.
Okay, I'm fine.
so would there be a motion on this?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that you go ahead and add carpet to your disposal grant
To the
request.
town's
transfer station, bulky waste, coupons,
Right.
your list, your recycling bulky waste list.
And I'll second before your tongue gets untied.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. I wish things were easier, but I appreciate your support here. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay, Frank. Okay. Rhonda, I know this will be probably in the Sheffield Times. It'll be on this CTSB. What date should we make this effective? I have to have this, nothing simple. I have to have this in place by June 14th to report it.
June 1st.
June 1st? Okay, Frank, June 1st?
Sure.
Okay, everyone, carpet, June 1st. Thank you all. All right, board member items. Bob?
I'd just like to thank the Sheffield residents for a good town meeting last night, good questions, good information, and no profanity. So, it's a great meeting.
Okay, Nadine?
I have nothing tonight.
I just want to remind people that opportunity to vote on Monday at the senior center. I think it's 9 from 7. I was told by someone that the Eagle put in Monday, May 10th. So just a reminder, excellent. And I want to thank the Finance Committee, the Select Board, and particularly our Town Administrator and Assistant Town Administrator. I think our town meeting went smoothly because the articles were well written and the explanations were crisp, and it was wonderful to spend that free cash. A lot of nice things were purchased for the town that have long been due, so thank you, Rhonda and Jill and others. Rhonda, Town Administrator items?
I don't have anything.
All right, public comment. Would you just please go to the microphone and introduce yourself, your street address?
Julie Ham, 765 Home Road. 2 quick items. First of all, I want to thank you for appointing Nadine to the Finance Committee. I think her expertise right now is really valuable as chair of the Regional School District Planning Committee. I know the timing is a little bit unorthodox, but I do appreciate that. And I think her leadership on that group and bringing it back to the Select Board and the Finance Committee is really, really important. So thank you for that. And also, a last plug, as a former library trustee and a busy library patron, one last plug. Please, please, if you have not, go to the library, see the Smithsonian exhibit, Crossroads, Change in Rural America. The issues and the voices are from across the nation, but the issues are the same as what's spoken right here in town. So I urge all of you as board members and community members that haven't seen it, please do take that time. Thank you.
When does that end? It's not that...
It ends Saturday, and I think the library hours are 10 to 2. So 2 o'clock Saturday would be the last opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Julie. Anyone else? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That closes the meeting. Thank you all for joining us tonight.